everybody, it is the Gnome and welcome back to another DCU update. I am very excited to bring you my thoughts on the newest addition to the DC Universe movie film library. I know it's been a while since I've really done much of anything in terms of content. What can I tell you? You've been following me for a while. You know that I just recently entered the realm of parenthood, and I have just been dedicating as much of my time as I possibly can to watching my beautiful baby girl start to grow and develop, and it is unbelievable to say that she is almost 3 months old at this point in time, and every single time I have some free time, I just want to either spend it with my wife, spend it doing things around the house, and of course focusing on my job, which I am still working very hard at. So when it comes to my YouTube stuff, don't get me wrong, I'm still trying my very best to bring you guys my content, but in regards to a lot of my stuff, I'm just taking a little bit of a break because the first couple of months when it comes to taking care of a new baby are very crucial, and you really need to dedicate as much of the time that you have as possible, pretty much almost all of your time. Not to say that I don't want to continue making YouTube videos, but I'm just glad to be here to be able to talk to you guys, and I'm just hoping that every single time I do turn on the camera that it's going to be positive. And it is kind of weird to say that this is the only DC Universe film that we're going to be discussing this year. I know that there is another DC animated film on the way before the end of 2022, but I have no idea if it's part of the DC Universe library or the DC Original Movie library. But today we're continuing on with the DC Rebirth storyline with Green Lantern, Beware My Power. Now, you guys obviously know me. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. I do sort of have a soft spot for the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern film, but when it comes to Green Lantern in the animated world, in the comic books, I have been such a huge fan of Green Lantern for so many years. I love the characters, I love the lore, I love some of the stories, especially Blackest Night. And today we're seeing how Green Lantern officially enters the world of this brand new animated timeline. And so, we are given, not Hal Jordan, but John Stewart. John Stewart is a Green Lantern that has been in the DC world for many, many years, and he was really growing in popularity when he was given to us in the brilliant shows Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, voiced by the great Phil LaMarr. But this time, it's a whole new John Stewart in a whole new DC animated world, and basically, he is found by one of the last Guardians, and he is told that he is the last Green Lantern, and that he needs to do what the Green Lanterns normally do. And then, of course, he gets himself involved with the Justice League that apparently has now officially been around for about a year, and we see characters like the Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, and Vixen. And basically, this story is more of a mystery to solve rather than a full-on action story, even though there is a great deal of action. We get a nice deal of cameos of characters, including Hawkgirl, who shows up, and we even get a very interesting appearance by Adam Strange. And the interesting part about this version of Adam Strange is it seems to be the Adam Strange that we got in the DC Showcase shorts about a year and a half ago. So the fact that we actually got the continuation of that story, I have to admit, I gotta give them a pat on the back. It was very clever. And I also really appreciated some of the twists and turns, and of course we also got Sinestro in this film. I mean, Sinestro is one of my favorite villains, and I really appreciated the fact that this film tried to tap into a lot of the Green Lantern lore that I'm familiar with. The Last Green Lantern, Parallax, all of that stuff is stuff that I personally really appreciate, and we even got some familiar faces from the Yellow Lantern Corps, which made me really, really excited. However, I do have to say that when it comes to this film, as well as all of these DC Rebirth films that we've been getting since Superman Man of Tomorrow, they've been okay. They haven't been the greatest movies that I've ever seen. I mean, the DC animated film library has been around for so many years now, since 2007 with Superman Doomsday, and we have gotten some really great animated films, and we've also gotten some not-so-great animated films. And when it comes to this stretch of films, I'm not really sure where I lie in terms of how I truly feel about it, if it's bad or good. I'm really just stuck in the middle, because each one of these films has a lot of enjoyment, but then they also just have a lot of dull points, a lot of lag, and some things that just don't seem to make sense. I personally have heard that there's a lot of people that are not too happy about this specific film just because of what they did with the Green Lantern lore, but I really didn't pay that any mind. But at the same time, I just am getting a little upset over the fact that when I see these stories and I want to see this new timeline unfold, I really am expecting a truly great series of stories, and I'm just not getting that. Not to say that there wasn't great action. There was definitely some great comedy in here. Green Arrow definitely turns on the charm and the great comedic timing. Love Green Arrow whenever he is animated in DC, but at the end of the day, it was alright. It wasn't the greatest movie I ever saw, and there wasn't even a post-credits scene in this movie, so I have no idea what is going on with this specific timeline, and I also have to say that there is a very good chance, because I honestly have no idea when this library is going to conclude, but I also have no idea what the sales numbers are like for these recent DVD/Blu-ray packages, and I gotta say that when this specific timeline comes to a close and it doesn't really seem to be getting any better, I may seriously say to myself it's time to stop buying these packages and just stop watching these animated films altogether, because I'm just not getting that great thrill that I received from films like Justice League: A New Frontier, or Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, or even the 2009 classic Wonder Woman. Those are some unbelievable films. And even Green Lantern First Flight is a much better film than Green Lantern Beware My Power. But again, there's a story brewing here. It just seems a little bit convoluted and a little weird and just not seeming to be fully streamlined. I think they're still trying to find their footing here, especially considering that we knew that the Justice League was forming by Superman and the Flash, and yet we didn't even get to see the Justice League develop. That's one of the few things that we also didn't really seem to get here, and I don't think we're going to see them develop, which is also making me a little upset. But you know what? They've already announced all the movies that are coming out for 2023, including the DC original movies and the DC Universe films, so let's see what happens in 2023. So am I still going to say that you should see Green Lantern Beware My Power? I'm going to say that if you haven't been enjoying this recent string of films, don't bother. But if you're still loyal to the DC world and DC animation like myself, then please give it a shot. I think you might actually find some good things in there, because I did. But that's going to be my review for Green Lantern Beware My Power. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Leave your comments in the box below and let's have a discussion, and I will see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.